Class 2, Subject Arithmetic, Topic Subtracting 3-digit numbers with zeros and Story sums on subtraction with borrowing. Hello students, we are back again with our Arith class. I hope you all are good in health. In last Arith class, we did 3-digit subtraction with regrouping of tens, hundreds, tens and hundreds. But today we will start with subtracting 3-digit numbers with zeros and then we will solve some story sums on subtraction with borrowing. So let's get started with subtracting 3-digit numbers with zeros. Look at this example. Subtract 365 from 500. Subtract 365 from 500. It means 500 minus 365. So, how we will solve this problem? First, you have to arrange this sum, isn't it? First, you have to arrange it. It means you have to write HTO, then put the numbers according to their place value. And after that, put the minus sign before subtrahend. Okay. Now, you are ready to solve this problem. So, now we have to follow the steps. I hope you have remembered the steps. So, we have to follow the steps. Step number 1. In this problem, look, we can see in ones column there are 0, 1 and 5 ones. And we cannot subtract 5 ones from 0, 1. So, we have to borrow 1 10 from tens column. Because we know that 5 ones is bigger than 0, 1. Isn't it? And it is not possible to subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. So, we have to borrow 1 10 from tens column. But we cannot do that also. Look. Why we cannot do that? Because in tens column there is also 0, 10. So, now what we will do? Yes, now we have to borrow 100 from 100 column. So, in first step, we have to regroup 100 as 10 tens. Okay. In this problem, we can see in hundreds column, there are 5 hundreds. So, after borrow 100, it will become 4 hundreds. And now, in tens column, we have 10 tens. So, step number 2. We can borrow 1 10 from tens column. Now, we can borrow 1 10 from tens column. Because in tens column, there are 10 tens. So, we can borrow 1 10 from 10 tens. Isn't it? Yes. It means we can change 1 10 to 10 ones and subtract the ones. So, in ones column, now there are 10 ones and 5 ones. And we can subtract 5 ones from 10 ones. So, 10 ones minus 5 ones is equal to 5 ones. Now, write 5 in ones column. and on the other hand, we borrowed 110 from tens column. So before borrowing, there was 10 tens. And after borrowing 110 from 10 tens, 10 tens become 9 tens. So in tens column, we have 9 tens left. And 6 tens is already there. So step number 3. Subtract the tens. And that is 9 tens minus 6 tens is equal to 3 tens. So write 3 in tens column. And step number 4. Subtract the hundreds. In hundreds column, there are 4 hundreds and 3 hundreds. So now subtract 3 hundreds from 4 hundreds. It means 4 hundreds minus 3 hundreds is equal to 100. So write 1 in hundreds column. Finally, we got the answer. And the answer is 500 minus 365 is equal to 135. Now, it is time to solve some story sums on subtraction with regrouping of 3-digit numbers. So, do you remember the rules that how we will solve a story sum? Yes, the rules are: read the story sum thoroughly. Then try to understand what you have to do. It means what operation you have to apply on this story sum. Addition or subtraction or any another operations. Okay. And then you have to follow the steps. When you will understand that what operation you have to apply, after that you have to follow the steps. At last, we are going to start to solve this story sum. Okay. So first, you have to write first statement. Then what you will do? You have to write second statement, and after writing second statement, you have to solve the problem. When you will get the answer. With it, you have to write third statement. And finally, you have to write the answer in full sentence. So, let's get started. Example number 1. Read the story sum thoroughly. Tina had 236 cookies. She gave 129 cookies to her friend. So, how many cookies does Tina have left with her? Example number 1. Tina had 236 cookies. She gave 129 cookies to her friend. So, how many cookies does Tina have left with her? So, to solve this story sum, we have to apply subtraction, isn't it? Yes. So, solve this story sum. First, write the first statement, and that is number of cookies Tina had 236. Okay, so the first statement is number of cookies Tina had 236. Then write the second statement. Second statement is number of cookies Tina gave 129. Number of cookies Tina gave 129. So, in this story sum, we will apply subtraction. Before writing the third statement, we have to subtract. 129 from 236. Okay. It means we have to write the numbers according to their place value at first. After that, we will follow the steps. And the steps are step number 1. Subtract the ones. Here in ones place there are 6 ones and 9 ones. So here we have to subtract 9 ones from 6 ones. But it is not possible because 9 ones is bigger than 6 ones. And we cannot subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. So we have to borrow 110 from tens column. Here in tens column there are 3 tens. So borrow 110 from 3 tens. And after borrowing 110, we have 2 tens left. And 6 ones become 16 ones. Because 110 is equal to 10 ones and 10 ones plus 6 ones is equal to 16 ones. Now we can subtract 9 ones from 16 ones. So 16 ones minus 9 ones is equal to 7 ones. Write 7 in ones column. Then follow step number 2. Subtract the tens. In tens column there are 2 tens and 2 tens. Because after borrowing 110, we have 2 tens left. Isn't it? And another 2 tens were already there. In step number 1, we have already borrowed 110 from 3 tens. Isn't it? So, we have 2 tens left. And another 2 tens is already there. So, subtract 2 tens minus 2 tens. So, 2 tens minus 2 tens is equal to 0 tens. Because we know if we subtract a number from itself, we get the answer as 0. So, here in tens column, 2 tens minus 2 tens is equal to 0 tens is equal to 0 10. So, now write 0 in tens column. Step number 3. Finally, subtract the hundreds. Okay. In hundreds column, there are 200s and 100. So, subtract 100 from 200s. It means 200s minus 100 is equal to 100. So, write 1 in hundreds column. And we got the answer 107. Now it's time to write third statement. And the third statement is number of cookies Tina has left with her 107. And finally write the answer in full sentence. And that is Tina has 107 cookies left with her. Okay. Now, it's time to solve next example, and that is example number 2. So, again, read this story sum very carefully and thoroughly. In a school library, 372 students are sitting. 184 students are reading books. 184 students are reading books. How many students are not reading books? Example number 2. In a school library, 372 students are sitting. 184 students are reading books. How many students are not reading books? How many students are not reading books. So how we will solve this problem? Yes, again we have to write the statements, then we have to subtract the numbers, and finally we have to write the answer in full sentence. Okay, so let's get started. Write first statement, and that will be number of students in the school library. Number of students in the school library, 372. Then write second statement, that is number of students reading books. Number of students reading books, 184. Remember, always write HTO, then write the numbers according to their place value, and after that you have to put the minus sign before the subtrahend. Okay. Now, before writing the third statement, we have to do subtraction, isn't it? Here we have to subtract 184 from 372. So again we have to follow the steps. Step number 1. Subtract the ones. Here in ones column there are 2 ones and 4 ones. And we cannot subtract 4 ones from 2 ones. So we have to borrow 110 from tens column. After borrowing 110 from tens column, 2 ones become 12 ones because 110 is equal to 10 ones. So 10 ones plus 2 ones is equal to 12 ones. So now subtract 4 ones from 12 ones. It means 12 ones minus 4 ones is equal to 8 ones. So write 8 in ones column. We borrowed 110 from 7 tens because in tens column there are 7 tens and 8 tens, but we borrowed 110 from 7 tens. So now we have 6 tens left in tens column and 8 tens are already there. So step number 2, subtract the tens. But we cannot subtract 8 tens from 6 tens. So we have to borrow again 100 from hundreds column. Okay, so we have to borrow 100 from hundreds column. And we know that 100 is equal to 10 tens. So 10 tens plus 6 tens is equal to 16 tens. Now we can subtract 8 tens from 16 tens. So 16 tens minus 8 tens is equal to 8 tens. And write 8 in the tens column. We borrowed 100 from 300s. So in 100th column there will be 200 left, isn't it? And 100 is already there. So step number 3, subtract the hundreds. In hundreds column there are 200s and 100. So 200 minus 100 is equal to 100. Now write 1 in hundreds column. Finally, it's time to write the third statement, and that is number of students who are not reading books, 188. So the third statement is number of students who are not reading books, 188. Now write the answer in full sentence, and that will be 188 students are not reading books. Okay. So we have solved 2 examples. And now here is some exercises for you. You have to do them by your own. Look, exercise, these are from subtraction. You have to subtract. Then write in columns and subtract. For this, you have to arrange the sum. How? First, you have to write HTO, then write the numbers according to their place value and put the minus sign before the subtrahend. Okay. After that, you have to subtract. And when you will get the answer, you have to write it separately. Okay? Yes. Now look at this exercise. Story sums. And how you will solve this? Yes. So first you have to read the story sums thoroughly. Okay. Then you have to understand which kind of operation or what operation you have to apply on it. Okay. And then solve it. There are many exercises in your Maths Ahead book regarding these two topics. So, you have to practice them too. For today, that is it. We will meet again in our next Arith class. Till then, be safe. Thank you.